So I'll be answering a few questions on practice questions on circles. Let's say I have a radius right here, and I have a tangent, and I have hypotenuse side coming like there is a 90-degree angle. Let's say I call here 11.7, I call here 10. Let's say I want to make my this side to be my unknown, and I want to find the value of x. Now, all I need to remember is that this is a right triangle, and this is a triangle that has no reference angle in it. And if I want to find the missing side, all I need to remember is the Pythagorean theorem. So my longest side is going to be C, right? And I would just put any one of these right here. It doesn't matter what I do because remember that it doesn't matter how you add two numbers, you get the same answer. 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 1 is 3. And so it doesn't matter where I put these right here. But I must remember that my hypotenuse is along the side right here. And so let's go ahead and solve it. So so let me put x right here, and then put 10 right there, square that. Put 11.7 all square. Now, if I square x, I get like x squared. If I square 10, I get 100. If I square 11.7, I get 136.89. I want to give my final answer into two decimal places. So I just subtract both sides by 100, subtract both sides by 100. That cancels that. I'm left with x squared is equal to 36.9, 36.89. And all I want to do is to find the square root of that because I need to find the square root. I want to square root both sides, get rid of the square. And then let's see, what is the square root of 30, 36.89 square root. I get that 6.2 decimal places or 6.07. Let's look at another question. Let's say we have let's see this. Let's say I have a circle and I have a secant line. Let's say this is my diameter right here. This is not drawn to scale. It should be. I want to find like the diameter right here. A circle like this. I try to put this in the center. This is not drawn to scale. So I just want to find right here, this sensor right here. And I have a tangent line looking at that. And let's say I give these sides or these lines units. Let's say I give this let's say um let's say I give my tangent 19. And I give here 7. And this is my unknown. And I want to find the distance of the inside part of the circle, which is a diameter. All right, so what I need to remember is what is the formula that I use whenever I see a secant line and a tangent line? All right, when in respect to finding a missing part on these lines or on one of the lines. So the formula is tan square is equal to the outer part of the secant line, in parentheses, the inner part of the secant line, plus the outer part of the secant line, close bracket right there. So my inner part of the secant line, my tangent is 19. So I'm going to square this 19. Just substitute the word tan with 19. I keep back my square. But the outer part of my secant line, the outer part of my secant line is 7. The inner part is x. My outer part is 7. All I need to do is to simplify this equation. So let me just get rid of this right here. Some space. going up top. Oh. So if I were to solve this right now, I would got 361 is equal to 7 times x, 7 times 7, 7x plus 49. I want to make x the subject. In other words, I want to find the value of x. So what I'm going to do is to subtract both sides by 49. That cancels that. Erase this right here. And so what is 361 minus 49? That's 312. Where's my eraser right here? So 312 is equal to this. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 7. So x by itself. I'm gonna run my answer. I'm gonna give my answer to 2 decimal places. It'll be 44.57. Next question. Let's say I have another question. Let's say I have a circle like this, and I have my intersected arc right like this. Yeah, there should be a central angle. It's not drawn to scale, so you're not seeing the accuracy of it. But it should be a central angle. A central angle is right here. Let's say right here is 210. Let's say this. So let's say we have A, B. My major arc is 31. 31x, 31x minus 7. And I want to find the value of x. So I could solve this 2 ways very, very easily. Now, the thing is this. This is my major arc. And also, this expression is my major arc. So what I could do, I could equate, since this, and this are the same, I could equate them and solve for x. So I could just do something looking like this. I could say 210 is equal to 31x minus 7. Let us make x a subject. I add both sides by 7. That cancels that, leaving me with 2. This plus this gives me 217 degrees. 17 degrees. And then I equate this by 31x. I divide both sides by 31. And my x should give me, used to be 7. 7. So my value of x is 7. Right, so let's move on. Let's look at another. Oh, there's another way we could actually solve it. All right, so if here is 210, then here must be 15 degrees, which is also going to be, because the relationship between the central angle is equal to its intercepted arc. So but how do I get this 150? Remember that all of the circle, the degrees is 360. If from this point to this point is 210, then I subtract 210 from 60 and I get 150. And this which will be the remaining part of right here. So all I need to do, this 31x. So all I need to do is to add. I could just simply so since here could be represented by 2 different things. It could be represented by this or this because they are the same. So all I need to do is to use this. I need to use this part, which is this right here. Add it with this and equate it to that. It's like I'm saying 210 plus 150 because this 210 is the same as this 210. That should give you the total degree of the circle. I could say 31x minus that plus 150 is equal to 360. All right, so all I need to do is to, if I were to subtract, let's say, or if I were to subtract, let's group the like terms right here. So I'll take away 7 from 150, it gives me 143. And if I were to subtract this from equals to 30. If I subtract this from that, I think I will get 217. The 3 that minus 1. Right. And if I get 217, it brings me back to the original part of my problem from the beginning. So x is going to be equal to 7. Let's move on. Let's look at another question. Let's say I have a circle and I have 2 chords, right? So if I say, let's say this my chord here is 9, here is 2. Let's say this part is unknown, or let's say this part is 3. Now, if I just give these letters, I'm gonna say D, A, C. I don't want to find this part. No, let's call this F. So right, the intersection is F. I want to find FA. Now, in order for me to find FA, I must remember the formula. What is the formula that I use whenever I'm looking for a missing part? A missing part. Looking for a missing part of the chord. Now, the formula is A times B is equal to C times D. Now, if you look at this intersection here, what it does, it creates like 4 different pieces. One right here, one right there, one right there, one right there. Each chord is going to be used for one side of the equation. So each chord is going to be used and it's going to be cut into 2, and it's going to represent A and a B. It's going to represent the next one will be C and a D. So let's try to work this out. So it doesn't matter which one you want to use for A and B and C. Just choose one. So I'm going to choose this line, this entire chord, which is 9 and 2. I'm going to split it up. So I could say my 9 is A, my B is 2. This one, my D and my C. I could say my 3 is B, my 3 is C, and my D is X. All I need to do is to simplify this. 2 times that gives me 18. I'm going to have 3 times that. And I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And if I remember 3 into that, it goes 6 times. So my X here is going to be 6. Let's look at another question. Now let's try to use the same 2 chords to find missing angles. Now I want to find the vertical angles right here. If this arc is 54 and this arc, let's give this a right number. Now these arcs are not drawn to scale. This is not drawn to scale, so I'm just giving you a picture. And I want to find my missing angle right here. And I say X. Now, what is the formula that I use whenever finding the vertical angles when I have 2 chords touching on the circle forming arcs, and that gives you a specific amount of degrees. All I need to do is remember, I will add both arcs, divide them by 2, and it gives me the angle, which is a vertical angle. So let's try to do this. So one of my arc is 2, the other one is 202, the other one is 54, and divide all this by 2. When I add this, I get 256 divided by 2. If I divide 256 by 2, I get 128. So X is equal to 128. Let's move on to another question. All right, so if I have to circle like this and I have, let's say I have 2 secant lines. Let's say I want to find angle B right here. Let's say let's say this arc right here, the smallest, this arc that is closer to the missing angle. Let's say this far arc is 59. This nearer arc is 21 degrees. And I want to find the missing angle right here. All I need to remember is a formula. What is a formula that I use when I have two secant lines forming an angle? The formula is the far arc minus the near arc. Let me get some space for you. So the far arc minus the near arc, all divided by 2 is equal to the angle that we want to find. So let's look at that. So this is my far arc, 159. This is my near arc. So all I'm going to do is going to say 159 minus 21 divided by 2. When I work this out, I get 159 minus 21 gives me 100 and 138. I'm going to divide this by 2. And I divide that by 2, I get 69 degrees. So my angle here is 69 degrees. Let's look at another question. Now let's have the same type of circle, but this time we're gonna have the two secant lines again. But in this case, we're gonna find a missing part on the secant line. So let's say this part, the inside part is missing. Here is 3, outside is 2.5, and right here is 5.9. And I want to find the missing part. The question is, what is my formula that I use when I have two secant lines and I want to find a missing part of the secant line, whether inside or outside? Now the formula is this. So it's out in parentheses plus out is equal to out again in parentheses in plus out. What does this mean? Now each line is going to represent one part of the equation. All right, let's go ahead and try to do this now. So let's go. So it doesn't matter which line I choose for. It doesn't matter which line I choose for which part of the equation. So I'm gonna use this part of the equation to do the first part. So my out part is 3, my in part is x, and my out part is 3 again. Remember, out, in, out. Now for this part of the my out part is 2.5, my in part is 5.5 plus my out part 2.5. When I put this in the calculator, it gives me 21. So when I have 21, and I distribute this with that, I get 3x give me 3x plus 3 times 3 give me 9. When I subtract that from that, cancel this, cancel that, this from 29. 9 from 21 gives me 12. I divide both sides by 3, I get x is equal to 4. All right. All right, let's look at a few more questions and we'll wrap this up. So let's look at this quadrilateral like this. Zoop, 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 right here. Now, here we have 4 angles. Remember that these angles they should be added up to equal to 180 degrees. So if I were to give these angles like some random angles, let's say here is 80 degrees. Let's say here is y plus 30 degrees. Let's say here is 75 degrees. And let's say here is x minus 10 degrees. And I want to find the value of x and y. Now we could just use our brains without using any sort of algebra by just saying that. Well, what number would if this is 80, what number should all of this be in order for me to know in order for me to add this with this so they all equal to 180? You could just actually do that if you want to think. So I'm saying that, well, if this is 30, if 30 plus 80 gives me 110, then this must be 70 for me, for everything to be 180. Also right here, if I take away 10 from 75, they give me 65. What number could I add with 65 to get 180? Well, 115. We could also prove it. So we are predicting that y is 70. We're predicting that x is 150. 15. Let's go. So all I need to do is to say 80 plus y plus 30 is equal to 180. When I work these two out, I get y plus 110 is equal to 180. If I subtract 110 from 180, I have y is equal to 70 degrees. As we predicted. Let's move on to the other one. Let's try to find the other question. So if I say 75 plus x minus 10 is equal to 180. If I work here and I work here, I get x is equal to, x plus 65 is equal to 180. If I take away 65 from 180, I get x is equal to 115. Let's look at this last question. Let's say I have two tangent lines. Make sure it's touching the circle at one point. Let's say I call here negative 18 minus 6x. Let's say 6. And I want to find the value of k. Now, what is the relationship between two tangents? Well, of two tangents, we have two tangents looking at touching the circle outside of this. Now, remember that this tangent is equal to that tangent, right? This expression could be equated to this since both are the same. So this is equal to that, just as this line is equal to that line. Because the length of this line is everything right here. The length of this line is everything right here. So all I need to do is to equate them. So I have now 6, open bracket 1 plus 3k is equal to negative 18 minus negative 6k. All I need to do is a group, is to simplify this, have all the k's on one side, all the numbers on the other side, and then we find the value of k. So we distribute both sides by 6. We distribute everything inside here by 6. So we say 616 plus 6 times 3k is 18k. We just write back this side because we're not doing anything with this right now. So all I need to do is to have the k's on one side and my numbers on the other side. Now I choose to put all my k's on this side, all my numbers on that side. So all I'm going to do is to add both sides by 6k. That cancels that. To have 6 plus 18k plus 6k is equal to negative 18. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring my this 6 on this side, which I add both sides by 6. Cancel that. So what I have here is negative k, positive k, plus positive 6k, positive 18k's plus 6k's is equal to negative 18 minus 6. I get 24k's for right here. I get negative 24. Divide both sides by 4. Divide both sides by 24. My k is now equal to a negative 1. So there you go. I hope this was of much help for you. And all the best. Please remember to share, subscribe, and tell someone about this video.